if you watch this fight over and over and over again, you will see that there were not more than 10 times that Justin took a backstep.
Yeah.
This fight was straight pressure.
Because he went ahead like the old Justin Gaethje. That guy that was measured when he knocked out Dustin Poirier and beat Rafael Fiziev was long gone. It was almost like he understood the assignment.
So it comes out of the gate roaring, blazing, walking him down, trying to turn the fight ugly, trying to make it a scrap, trying to make it like thrive, like trying to make it as chaotic as possible.
Round one, I thought, hold on a second. Gaethje looks odd. Like, Gaethje looks off in round one. That was my whole thought process in round one. Like, Pimblett's actually going to do this. He's landing shots. He's landing uppercuts and knees up the middle. How is Gaethje not wobbled by any of these shots?
Starting from round one and early in round one, I think about a minute and a half in, Gaethje catches him with an overhand right and then an uppercut and drops Pimblett, and you'd think it's over. The fight is near ended.
And luckily, I found some success early. You know, like I said, I was gonna have to steal some momentum, and he was very confident, and I had to take that early. And he was hurt, and I was like, "What is happening?" I didn't even know. I don't know. I even asked coaches, like, "What did I hurt him with?" I don't know what I hurt him with in the first round. He was very hurt.
He got hit. I heard him on the mic say he got hit right in the solar plex in the first round. And I cannot believe, because I watched the end of the first round, I'm like, there's no way Paddy goes another 20 minutes.
Paddy Pimblett was on the brink a couple times. But Pimblett, I'm sorry, he was on the brink of the abyss. He was hanging off the cliff. Well, you've seen a million action movies where the guy falls off the cliff and you look down and you think he's gone and he's still there. He just found a little edge. He found an edge. Just a little jut of rock that was sticking out, and somehow his fingers grabbed it and he's hanging on.
I do think at that point in round one, that should have been the only lesson he needed to learn about this fight of what plan A should be. Because if plan A was to stand and trade with Justin Gaethje, that for me would have been the moment that I would have went, right, okay, you've clearly got a bit of an advantage here. Let's get the feet to the ground while I've got the energy to do it. And I don't know why, and we'll get onto this, but he just didn't.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision, because it seemed like very conscious by Paddy to not want to go into the grappling, but I also understand, like, he was landing, you know. I'm sure I would bet in Paddy's mind it was like, I'm just one shot away from ending this guy, you know, and then trying to find it.
This is like playing a video game. The more you get hit, the more damage you take, the more your power level goes down. And in that round, look, Paddy looked great up until the moment where he got dropped, until he sat back to his butt. Once you sit back to your butt and you start taking shots from that position, the game changes. Your energy level goes from like 80% down to like 20.
Round two happens. And it's the same thing again. Pimblett's getting hit with massive shots on the chin. He's landing good kicks to the body. Teeps, low kicks, knees, punches, chin up in the air. You're wondering every time, when is he going to get slept?
That one knockdown where he dropped Paddy and Paddy popped right back up like a springboard, I was like, yo, that... I would have been surprised if he passed out, like fainted, because he got up so quickly. Got dropped, popped right back up, like as soon as his butt hit the ground, like it was a football drill. Yeah, dude, granite chin.
It's not like Gaethje doesn't fucking hit hard either, you know what I mean? Gaethje's knocks people out. That's why I couldn't believe Paddy was taking him, you know?
Yeah.
And like both of them, but Gaethje was like fucking windmilling in with that right hand, you know, trying to take his head off, and Paddy would just eat him. I couldn't believe it.
Justin was like landing little shots, good uppercuts as well. But then in the wrestling side of things, he was like ragdolling him, getting him in that snap down, dragging him down to the canvas and punching him and stuff like that. I said to Weidman, I'm like, you know what the difference is there? That's wrestling, which is what Justin is, versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That was the big difference there, I thought, because Justin's wrestling kicked in, snapped him down to the ground, doing more damage, punching him in the face, where Paddy was like, lads, what's going on, mate?
Yeah. And then he gets thumbed in the eye in round two. Really bad from Justin Gaethje. There's a picture of it right there. I wonder if you can see that clearly. You can. Starts wincing up against the cage in round 2. And then Gaethje cracks him with an overhand and drops him really bad in round 2. And it should be mentioned, a lot of the damage on Pimblett came from that moment.
Fucking hell, man. Have we not learned anything from the Tom Aspinall saga? I think he got poked in the eye 3 fucking times. That should have been a point deduction, because when Gaethje is approaching him, he's literally approaching him just as the way it happened with Tom Aspinall.
In football, if you miss a penalty on VAR, the whole conversation afterwards is, that fucking penalty would have changed the game. That thumb in the eye could potentially change this fight around. Yeah. Because that, from the thumb in the eye to the end of round 2, is when Paddy takes the most damage. The most damage.
And when you watch that punch that Gaethje threw, I don't think for 1 second he had any intention of catching his thumb on Paddy's eye. I just think he's just got bad form on his fist. And I think as he threw it, he was slightly off target, and he just pulled his thumb out.
I want to remind people, after the second round, he looked like he was on death's door.
Dude, I didn't think he was going to make it out of half of the first round.
Yeah, he took huge shots to finish the second round.
Third round, I thought that Paddy Pimblett had the best round of the fight that he had. He was able to land on Justin. He was able to get some damage off on Justin. And it looked like Gaethje was slowing down.
But then Pimblett starts landing non-stop. This was one of the big moments in the third round where I thought it's all going to change. We're leading towards a Pimblett sweep in the last 3 rounds. And Pimblett starts landing everything he throws. Towards the end of round 3, jab, body kick, low kick. And Gaethje's starting to like shake around a bit, lose his balance a bit.
Paddy might have necessarily not realized how much he hurt Justin because of this look Justin had on his face. And that look, to people who are not fighters, it's a very deceptive look, because you can land something flush. I could be hurt, but I just do this. And then now in your head, you go, man, I just threw my hardest punch. And that you should hurt guys at practice. That puts guys down. But he just smirked at me, and he's still coming forward. So it discourages you.
What was interesting to me about this is both on the feet and on the ground, at least in so much as the wrestling is concerned, not the actual, he had mount or something. What's interesting to me is Gaethje actually had to face Paddy's best stuff. Paddy gave him basically everything he had, and it wasn't even close to enough.
I thought Gaethje let off the gas a little bit in the third round, maybe because he spent so much in the second, trying to finish him, with the ground and pound. When he dropped him like 3-4 times in a night. I thought that he let off the gas in the third, that it might have been different if he didn't let off the gas. But Pimblett, give him credit. He comes back, he wins the third.
Honestly, I saw like a glint of disinterest from Gaethje.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was weird. But then round 4 just puts his foot back on the pedal, maybe knowing he's got 2 rounds left. Bar fight Gaethje. It was Gaethje of old. It was so good to see.
But round 4 was where the championship rounds and the championship mentality of Justin Gaethje really showed, in my opinion. He starts off no fucking messing around. Big right hand right on the jaw of Paddy. Paddy looked hurt immediately. You seeing it just take something away from him.
You can see when he kind of gets backed up against the fence, he starts to bring his lead foot up and kick away, and it's when he's most. I'll be honest, I think his erratic movement is actually what saved him from getting some of those big shots, because he was moving more than Gaethje was anticipating. So Gaethje was missing with a lot of those big shots.
My coaches do a good job at keeping me focused and keeping me in the fight. But I've been here, I've done it too many times to try to think that it's over or he's quitting. I knew, I could feel it. This guy he was trying to hurt me the whole time. And if I took my foot off the pedal for a second, he was on my ass.
And again, the pressure, pushing Paddy back. We talked about Paddy's deficiencies. Paddy, a lot of his defense is evasion and pulling. And that's fine in certain circumstances, or at least it's not a big deal against certain opponents. against certain in certain places in the real estate of the octagon. That can all be true, but if your predominant way of getting out of it means you have to move with your feet and then lean, dude, if you get pressured, your defensive instincts completely, it's not like you go to a second level of defense unless you're really, really good. Your defense just kind of goes away. And so he was getting fucking bummed on.
I always say, when the shorter guy gets close to the taller guy, and the taller guy stays tall and goes straight back tall, now it's a liability being tall. Now it's a detriment, because now there's a lot of target, and the other guy has momentum. He's got balance. He's coming forward. You're off balance. You're going back. You're not set to punch, and you're giving him this tall target to hit.
In the brawl, it was two guys that wanted so badly. Two guys that want to win so badly, they threw caution to the wind and they put it all on the line. And that's what I saw. Two guys who really dug deep. Now, could they have been a little more technically clean? Sure. Did they play to their strengths? Yes. You know, Gachi lives in this kind of fight.
Yeah, it's just meaner, right? That American style wrestling that Gachi uses so well. And you're right. He was doing that snap down, and he was kind of in just that front headlock position where he was staying completely safe too. Because even if Paddy had tried to roll forward and pull guard from there, Gachi's out. He's out of there. He kept himself in a position on the mat where he was always going to be able to do damage and land those shots.
Yeah, I told him in the locker room, I was like, I'm gonna be in this position as much as possible because it's perfect. You know, even if it's north-south when he's on his back, I love being in that position. They can't wrap their legs around me. There's no submissions they can get from there, and I can still punch them. I was landing some big shots there too. I did it on Fazeev, did it on Chandler. I love being in that position. That's wrestling.
Round 5, Gaethje won the 5th maybe, looking back at these stats, but Pimblett kind of had him wobbled at one point in the round, so I think that could maybe sway it a little bit, but one judge or two judges gave it to Gaethje, one judge gave it to Pimblett. Sick fight. Absolutely amazing fight.
Round 5 starts with Paddy's corner again begging him to go for a takedown. They're saying, you need to fucking submit this guy here. You're not going to win this otherwise. So they're convinced they're down on the scorecard.
5th, Paddy had the shitty, sloppy takedown attempts that were just bad optics. Relatively close, and then these just awful takedown attempts that were easily stuffed just kind of made it look like, all right. You know what I mean? There's like an air of desperation when you're shooting and don't get it.
The problem, guys, also, if you're behind and start going for takedowns that you weren't going for early, it looks like desperation. Judges will go, oh, he's desperation going for a takedown. Also, you're up against an All-American wrestler who's really, really strong, and he just couldn't get the takedown. So, once again, didn't change the strategy up until late.
But luckily, you know, everyone's, well, why don't you wrestle? That was me wrestling. That was me. You know, 50% of wrestling is stopping them from taking you down.
Paddy really impressed me with not only getting dropped, but then getting back to his feet and then immediately going on the attack. And even in round 5, as you mentioned, those uppercuts, they were beautiful. I mean, it was a weird angle of an uppercut, but it doesn't matter. They were landing, they were doing damage. You know, Justin was definitely hurt on a few occasions there. So, and he came up to the desk afterwards and his face was bust up, his jaw was kind of swollen and stuff. So, yeah, brilliant fight.
If he lost, yes, he did lose. And if he lost any stock from this, the one saving grace is that he's been saying for a long time, we don't get knocked out, lad.
I think there were some moments where technique was thrown out, but I also understand that sometimes you do whatever the hell it takes to get the win. Sometimes, you know, war, battle, whatever kind of combat, it's not going to be pretty, and you do whatever it takes to get the win. I think that both of those guys are probably capable of delivering more technical performances, but sometimes it doesn't call for a technical performance. It calls for a savage to go out there and get it done.
Yeah. Technically, it was just two fucking lads in there trying to outwill each other rather than outskill each other. When you're talking about Topuria, when you're talking about Sarukian, these are very technical guys that wouldn't allow themselves, you would think, to get into that type of brawl.
Topuria wouldn't.
But, were you fucking not entertained?
Yeah, of course, mate.
It was a brilliant fight.
I think after watching that, everybody that was tuned in are going to be lifelong fans of the UFC. Because on the special nights, there is not a sport in the world that can compare to the UFC. And tonight we have one of those special nights.
Yeah, this is such a crazy ride. Such a crazy sport. Most exciting sport in the world. And I love it.